So to start the six-sided die, you're going to want to make a new folder in Windows called six-sided die, and then in here you're going to want to make a new part, and we can go ahead and save this as the six-sided die in that folder. So last name, first name, six-sided die, and then we're going to start off by making our extrusion. We can start on the top plane. We're going to make a perfect cube centered at the origin, so it doesn't really matter what plane you start on. But we're going to start with the center rectangle and make a 0.7-inch square. And then we can take that and extend it to be a 0.7-inch cube. Now, just like before, you're going to see you don't want to do a blind extrusion or else your origin is located at the bottom, so make sure you grab a mid-plane extrude instead. If you forget to do that, you can always just click on this edit feature to get back into that menu. So now I'm going to go and make references for where to put each of my sets of holes. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to the part tree, and you can see the different planes here. So I'll click on the front plane and make a new sketch. Now I want to actually look at this viewed normally, so I can either use the standard view orientation here. So there's the front view, and then from there you can see it rolls out to the other views. You can also click on this and just use the normal to button that pops up right there. So now that I'm in this sketch and I'm normal to it, I'm going to go grab a center rectangle, draw it out from the middle, and then smart dimension this thing to be 0.4 inches, and then make both these equal. And I'm going to want to go ahead and make all of these construction lines as well. So you can use this construction geometry tool to do that. So that's basically it for the first sketch. Now I'm going to go through and drag select and just copy all these. So drag select, you click an open space and you select over whatever you want to copy there. If it's blue, meaning you're going to the right, then it'll select anything that it fully covers, like so. See, it only completely covered that line in the smart dimension. If it's green, then it'll select anything that it touches. So here it grabs everything except for this bottom line. So that's basically how the drag select works. And now I'm going to use Control-C to copy this. And then I'm going to now exit my sketch. And I'm going to come over and repeat the same process to get a sketch on the top plane. So I'm going to make a sketch, hit normal to, and now, I think I missed that. So once again, normal to. And then I'm going to just paste my sketch there. Notice that it just dropped right where my mouse was. And I'm going to drag that onto my origin. It's not letting me do that for a second, so let me just click off, try it again. So that's basically it, and we'll repeat the same process. So we'll go normal to the right plane, make a new sketch there. I've noticed that even if I'm over the origin here, and I paste it, it doesn't necessarily drop it. So you still have to come in, click on that surface, and then drag it to the origin. So therefore, I've got all of my planes, and I am at this point ready to continue. Next thing I want to do, spacebar to get to the standard views, or you can click this button right here. I'm going to go to the top view, and this is where I'm going to put my 1. So I'm going to click on the hole wizard, and we're going to do a blind hole just like last time. If I refer to my drawing, so you can see basically the 1 is going to be located here, and then all the other ones are there. And you can see the diameter of the hole is 0.109 and it goes to a depth of 0.063. So if we come back here, I'm going to grab that hole wizard tool. You want to look at all drill sizes, and then if you click on the show decimal value, you can look through and you want the hole that gives you 109. So this is the 7/64 in this case. In condition, and before we did through all, but clearly you don't want to drill all the way through your part. Instead, you want to do a blind one and set the depth to 0.063. Next up, under positions, I'm going to just click on my face here. So this is the top one, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And you can see that it's allowing me to place it on any of these corners that I've already made. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my 1 central there, and that gives us my first face. Next up, I'm going to want to put in the opposite face. So if I go to my bottom view, the trick is that the opposite face is always summed to 7. So therefore, this face we're going to want to put an extruded or a hole wizard and put the 6 in. So the settings are all correct now. So I just go to positions, place it on each of those corners there. Now you may have noticed that I actually messed one of these up, and you can see one of these has a blue hole So if I click on this, let's see if I can drag it around now, it actually let me move it there, and it's still not getting fully defined. So there, I managed to get it fully defined like so. So now all those are black. I can hit the check mark, and Hole Wizard takes care of it. So next up, I'm going to do the front face. The front face is the 3, and there's something slightly tricky about the 3 and the 4. You want to make sure you get the correct orientation. So if we look at our example, the 3 should be going up and to the right, whereas the 2 goes down. So we'll come back here, go ahead and make another Hole Wizard, and then make our 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we can come over to this face and make our 3, oh, accidentally added that one. So let me go ahead and get to a left view just so this all looks straight on. And notice that I've messed up here with a couple holes I didn't want. So if I hit the escape key, I can actually come back in, select the points I don't want, and hit delete to get rid of those. So we've got our ones there. Now with the Hole Wizard, if you mess something up and you need to go back in, if you click on this and open it up, you can actually go in and edit the sketch. The points are what locate where the holes are. So if I edit sketch 11, I can actually come in here and say add additional points if I wanted to just put a whole bunch of points there. And you see how it makes kind of a Swiss cheese thing. Now, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo. Maybe? Undo is giving me... Oh, well, I just undid my feature. You should always be careful when you're using SolidWorks, because if you undo too far, then it can actually cause you to lose progress. So I'll go ahead and build the 2 correctly, and we can now see that those are all good. So that's basically exactly how your part should look when viewed from this angle. You'll add in the 4s and the 5s the same way. Those, it's a little harder to mess up. Make sure that you put, they should add to 7, so we want the 5 opposite the 2 on the right face, and then similarly the 4 should be opposite the 3. So another Hole Wizard, and we said this one was the 5. You can actually kind of see the other holes through the part, which is kind of neat. And then we'll go here. So this is the back view now. And finally, last one. Hole Wizard. And I'm getting a little overeager and I've managed to mess up another one. So once again, hit escape and delete that point. Okay, so I'm nearly done. I just need to add my chamfer. This is going to be very similar to how you did the chamfer before. So if we go up to Features, under Fillet, there's the chamfer. This time it's a 30 thou chamfer, as denoted in your drawing. And I'm going to make this quick and easy. You can either select the edges or the faces, but if I just grab, missed. That was not what I wanted. What did I just do? Okay, so since I accidentally grabbed that edge, I'm going to delete that. And this is clearly not working. So because I didn't chamfer it before I started drilling holes, you can see this is not working as well. So I'm going to exit out of this chamfer actually, and we're going to show you a little trick called the rollback bar. So this blue bar down here, if I bring my cursor over, you see it turns into a little hand. So by dragging this thing up, I can actually basically turn back time to before I did all of these holes. Now that's useful because now if I add the chamfer, I can just go through and tell it that I want to chamfer the whole cube and not accidentally chamfer the holes that I made unintentionally. So you can see I've got the outline of all of those edges there, and that's looking good. And now I can use the rollback bar to move forward again, and it's just like I had done that stage back then. So notice this all goes chronologically from the oldest feature I made to the newest. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now the last thing I'm going to want to do is hide these planes here. So these sketches, if I click on them, I can use the hide feature because I don't want to see those in my final part. So I'm just going to hide the sketches that I used as references. And there's my finished die. You want to make sure you set the material. I've got it as a favorite, so I can just click on that and get the 6061 alloy. So I'm going to save it, and we're going to go and make a drawing from part/assembly. And now to bring it in, we're going to want to start with the front view. And then you can see that we'll roll out the other views just like they should be, except that I can't actually get over to the 4. Also, I need to get my ISO view, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the check or the escape key. These are coming in at a 2:1 scale, so looking very big. So let's go ahead, right-click on Sheet Format, Properties, bring that down to a 1:1, and that's looking a little bit better. And then I'm going to just play around with the spacing a bit here. To get my last 2 views, if I go to View Layout, then Projected View, I can basically click on an existing view and project from that view. So I can use that to bring in my 4 by projecting from the 5. And you can see it also projects the other views as well. I'm also going to project from my 2, so projected view from my 2. And that's what gives me that nice view that basically shows how the 1, 2, 3 sides all fit together. So that's going to be my isometric view right there. So those are all my views. I'm going to want to go ahead as well, update the name block just like you did for your other drawings. And then in order to get all of the dimensions for this, we're going to use what are called ordinate dimensions. So the way that that works is that if we go to Annotation, under Smart Dimension, in the drop-down, there's an option that says Ordinate Dimension. And if I zoom into the one, we're basically going to start ordinate dimensions here, and then I click on the middle point and click it there. So basically it's starting at 0 and then measures across. And then I'd like to go down, but it's not going to let me do it until I get out of the ordinate dimension. So I'm going to click on Smart Dimension and then go back to an ordinate so I can start a new one. Click on there, and I just messed up, so I'm going to hit Escape and try this again. So I get that line, put in my ordinate dimensions there. Now, if you ever forget an ordinate dimension, you can add them pretty easily. If you just right-click and hit Add to Ordinate, you can do additional ordinate dimensions to an existing one. So I could, for instance, dimension that chamfer there. However, I don't really want to do that. Additionally, we need to go in and put the tolerances here. So that's going to be just like what we did before. You're going to put a symmetric tolerance of 0.010, so that's 10 thou. And we're going to want to do that for both the 0.7, so we have some leeway in exactly how big we make our part by plus or minus 10 thou. And then the 350 kind of assumes that we actually made this exactly at 0.7. So this, as well as this, are both inferred dimensions. So I'm going to shift-click or control-click those, and then hit the parentheses here to say that these are only true if you make this exactly to size. So that pretty much does it for our top view. The final thing we're going to want to do is add in the note about the, let me get to the right drawing. So we're going to want to add this note right here. So this is basically saying there are 21 holes of diameter 0.109 and a depth of 0.063 and a note to use the center drill when you make them. So that's easy enough. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and copy the notes, and you can grab those from your PDF just like we did before. And so I'll minimize that, open this up. So to get that, if you click on this hole callout button and then select that hole, it'll actually create the diameter and the depth for you. So I can come over here and then add in, oh, that's annoying. Okay, never mind, don't do a callout. Callouts are dumb. Smart Dimension, bring that down here, and then I can add in the notes here to say 21 times 0.109. The depth button is right here, so you say depth of 0.063, and then enter, use center drill. So there we go, and I'll also add in a note. Just like, and these, as I said, you can get from your PDF. So you're going to repeat that process to get all the other sides dimensioned. Notice that because it's a cube, you only have to put the total dimensions once for each direction. So this is the overall width of the part, this is the overall depth of the part, and then we need to put one that has the overall height of the part, and we'll go ahead and put that on the 2. So ordinate dimension, click on the top edge, and then go and put the rest in. And so, just like before on this one, we're going to want to make it symmetric with 10th thou of tolerance. I'm going to just scoot this in a little bit so it's not quite so close to the edge. And then we can make both of those. Now, as a note, you can basically put in all of your dimensions and then at the end make them all have the parentheses. So that's pretty much it. You're going to go and put all your other ordinate dimensions in, and then make sure you update that, save it as a PNG, and get it turned in. Okay, thanks.